So we were speaking about grape varieties there. I'm always fascinated by the swathe of grape varieties that one finds in Ukraine. And one of the most fascinating things I found about Ukrainian wines is the prevalence of the Aligote variety. And I wanted to ask you, why is Aligote one of the, if not the main grape in Ukraine? Why is that? What's the historical reason for that?
I wouldn't call it a main grain. I think among whites is still Chardonnay, the king of the whites, as
Right,
all over
right,
the
right.
world. And Ukraine is the same. We do have quite a lot aligoté,
Yes.
but to be honest, we don't have so many aligoté. During the Soviet Union, yeah, that was quite a
Ah,
lot, probably because it can give I don't know, maybe the level of alcohol, because the problem of the Soviet Union, they always wanted to get more from any agriculture sector,
right.
more wheat, more fruits, more grapes, whatever, and they didn't understand that the more grapes you get from the harvest, the less taste it will be in a
Yeah, of
single
course.
grape. And to somehow to balance it, they put a lot of sugar to make the high alcohol and to give at least any taste. So it was always the most popular wines were semi-sweet. That was actually now we couldn't even drink it. It was horrible.
Right.
Maybe since that time, Alugate gave that opportunity to make it better. But still, Alligate for me, it's fantastic grape, and it's very well presented in Burgundy, their
Yeah,
motherland,
of
and
course.
they also do very nice mono grape wines. Um, we mostly use it in blends. Sometimes we use it in sparklings. I wouldn't even remember now a single mono grape wine in
Interesting. I
Ukraine
see.
from Aligabe.
Now, another question for you. You have a whole raft of international varieties that are now grown in Ukraine, but you have some more indigenous varieties as well, right?
We don't have indigenous in how the Georgian can tell by
Right.
themselves
But
that
yeah,
they have
yeah, yeah. That's slightly
indigenous.
different. Yeah.
This we don't have because the wines we call indigenous, it's mostly the wines that was created in Ukrainian winemaking institute, is a cross between different other grape
Right.
varieties,
Yes, I
like
see.
Odessa Black, our flagship grape variety, and we are now trying to promote it worldwide as a face of Ukrainian winemaking, like Malbec in Argentina or Riesling in Germany. This is a cross between Cabernet Sauvignon and Alibernet, or Alicante Bouschet. And in Europe, in Slovakia, in Czechia, it's also quite popular. It calls Alibernet. Alicante Bouschet Cabernet, Alibernet. Also, Sukhalimansky, the grape variety impossible to spell for any foreigner. So, Sukhalimansky. Maybe someday it will call Odessa White for the export market because we had in each and every exhibition, it's
Oh, I can
meant
imagine. Yeah.
to pronounce it. This is a cross between Chardonnay and Plavai. Another crosses we had that was made also in Magarach Institute in Yalta in Crimea. A lot of indigenous grape we have in Crimea, but now unfortunately we cannot, not so many we can to reproduce here in the mainland, but now some of the winemakers and wineries are working on to reproduce to grow the grapes, the vines from originally from Crimea. And we have indigenous Tilti Kuruk. Tilti Kuruk from the Turk language means foxtail because the grape looks like a foxtail. And originally Turks said that this is our grape variety. We said no. This, I think, was still born in Ukraine, in the Ukrainian territory, 100 years ago, in times when it was occupied by Ottoman Empire.
Yes.
Uh, spell it right. Since then, this grape variety grows very well in Mykolaiv and Odessa region. We have a few producers that makes fantastic wines from this grape variety. And international sommelier, when they taste it, they always find something what close to the grape varieties they're autochthonous. Someone call it Malvasia, someone call it, oh, it looks a little bit like a Sauvignon Blanc. And it's very complex, it's quite complicated, and it's very great variety that we also want to promote as one of the flagship of Ukrainian winemaking. It's a white one.
I've been reading that sparkling wines are really coming on in Ukraine right now. Is there truth in this?
It is. Well, sparkling wines is a trend, I think, forever in the world. And of course, in Ukraine, we also produce a lot. We still have one of the biggest sparkling wine producer in Eastern Europe. They produces almost 25 million bottles per year. And their caves was 72 meters deep, where it was traditional methods. So the fermentation in the bottles was 72 meters deep in the caves. That was fantastic climate to keep the wines from 9 months till the years and years. It was in Bakhmut city in the Donetsk region. Maybe you heard Bakhmut recently because it's one of the hottest spots now during the war. The city is destroyed completely. The winery, unfortunately, it's also destroyed completely. They had a chance to take a few millions, over 9 million bottles to the Odessa to bring it there. Everything that left was all looted or destroyed, and they still selling what they made there. But now they, in a partnership of the company of the winemaking plant in Odessa region, they are making also wines on their facilities. So they continue to work, they continue to produce, and they're hoping to come back to this Bakhmut region, to their own winery, to rebuild it, and again to become one of the best and biggest producers in the Europe, in the Eastern Europe. And they were really famous. A lot of people and people who works with the wine know them in Europe. They sell very well in the United States. I hope they will be great again soon. Also, we have a lot of small producers who are doing sparkling. Due to the law to do sparkling wines, the really small producers with the special licenses for craft producers, they cannot do. They need to have the license as for the big one that costs a fortune. So mostly small producers are producing pet nut with a not so high bar.
Yeah, with pressure, yes.
And a half bar pressure, yeah. And a lot, we have a fantastic traditional method, and of course we have a method Sharma, and most of our producers are in Odessa region, the one who works with the sparklings. And recently in Zakarpattia, we had the first sparkling wine from Zakarpattia, I think 1 year ago. They made a presentation of it. It was also both, they made a sparkling or they made a Sharma, and they made a traditional method, Chateau Chizai, with I found one of the most fantastic vineyards in Ukraine, spectacular on the hills. And their wines from the Furmint, the famous Hungarian, from the Czechs again, from the Furmint and from the Blau Frankish. Also, it's not traditional grapes for the sparkling, but they made really good.
Terrific, terrific. Well, Victoria, I really appreciate you giving me such well, I like you correcting my very spotty knowledge of Ukraine wines. I really appreciate that, because there were a few things that I wasn't so sure of. Now, if people were looking to gain a little bit more education about Ukrainian wines, where would they go?
Oh, they can go to our website, ukur.wine. There is plenty information about Ukrainian grapes, regions, companies who produce in there. And actually now we are working on the video course about Ukrainian winemaking, and I hope soon we can already announce it. So it will be quite short courses with a few series about each aspect of Ukrainian winemaking. We're also working with the biggest schools like WCT and all the rest to put the wines from Ukraine, wines of Ukraine, into their educational program, so people could know, the people who want to learn more about wines will also have opportunity to know about Ukrainian wines.
Excellent.
Because not so many people still know that they are wines in Ukraine. Like a funny story, we had our first time participating in ProWine in 2023. We had for us, a huge stand, but of course, among all our, especially in Champagne, we were small, and there was a big leather wines of Ukraine, and people just passing by and see wines of where? Ukraine. You do have wines, and even now, and for so many people it was just a shock that Ukraine has wines. Ukraine produce wines, and moreover produce really good wines. But good thing, the next year, this one, 2024, all our visitors already come and they knew that Ukraine has wines, and now they come and say, okay, now I heard you have such a great grape variety like Tiltikoruk. Can I taste it? And that was already something that people know so much more about Ukrainian wines during all this year comparing to the 2023.
Excellent.
So we hope we can spread all this information in each and every school and in each and every country, so people could know more about wines from Ukraine.
Well, thank you for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully we will see you over in Canada at some point, and we can introduce my peer group to the wines of Ukraine. Stay safe over there, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.